I want you to imagine being forced to eat your meals outside like a dog, forbidden from using the same bathroom as your employers, and having your clothes inspected to make sure you didn't steal anything before leaving work each day. Not in the 1800s, not in some distant history book. In modern Africa, in a wealthy home, where the people who did this to you smiled for church photos every Sunday. That is exactly what happened to Amara Ndlovu. She thought if she worked hard and stayed humble, she would be treated with basic human dignity. But the Okafor family had other plans. They broke her spirit daily, crushed her dreams repeatedly, and laughed at her pain consistently. But what they didn't know was that the maid they called worthless was building an empire in the shadows. And the day she walked into their office as their new boss, that was the day Karma came dressed in a power suit. Please, before we dive into this powerful story of transformation and justice, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It helps us share these important stories with the world. And if you haven't subscribed yet, press that button now. You don't want to miss the moment when everything changes. Now, let me introduce you to Amara. Amara Ndlovu was 19 years old when she knocked on the gates of the Okafor mansion in Ikoyi, Lagos. She had just arrived from her village in Enugu State with nothing but a small bag, a secondary school certificate, and a letter of recommendation from her local priest. Her mother had died the year before. Her father was too old to work. Her 3 younger siblings needed school fees. Amara had no choice but to come to Lagos to find work. The Okafor family seemed perfect on paper. Chief Okafor was a successful businessman who owned a chain of furniture manufacturing companies. His wife, Mrs. Blessing Okafor, was a socialite who chaired 3 charity organizations and posted Bible verses on social media every morning. They had 2 children, Chidinma, 24, who worked at her father's company as marketing director, though everyone knew it was a title without responsibility, and Chukwemeka, 22, who was studying abroad and came home twice a year. When Amara was hired as their housemaid, Mrs. Okafor smiled sweetly and said, "Welcome to our family, dear. We treat our workers very well here. You'll be happy." That smile disappeared the moment Amara walked through the door. The rules started immediately. You will eat in the boys' quarters, never in the main house. You will use the outside toilet, never the family bathrooms. You will wake up at 4 a.m. to start cleaning. You will not touch the family's food until everyone has eaten. You will not sit on the furniture. You will not watch TV unless you're cleaning the room. You will not use the front door. And you will never, ever embarrass this family by looking dirty or lazy when we have guests. Amara nodded to everything. She needed the job. She needed the 30,000 naira monthly salary that would feed her family back home. She could endure anything for her siblings' future. But what the Okafors called rules, Amara soon learned were humiliation rituals designed to remind her daily that she was beneath them. Mrs. Okafor would deliberately spill drinks and make Amara clean it immediately, even if she was eating her own meal. "That's what we pay you for," she would say with a laugh. Chidinma would try on 10 different outfits and throw them all on the floor for Amara to wash, even the clean ones. "You need to earn your salary, don't you?" she would say. But the worst was Chief Okafor. Every evening before Amara could leave the main house to sleep in the tiny room in the boys' quarters, he would make her empty her pockets, lift her bag, and sometimes even check her clothing. "We've had thieves before," he would say. "Can't be too careful with you people. You people." Like Amara wasn't human. Like poverty was a crime. Like serving them meant she had no dignity. Amara cried herself to sleep most nights. But she never cried in front of them. She wouldn't give them that satisfaction. 6 months into the job, something changed. Mrs. Okafor's sister, Annie Ngozi, came to visit. Annie Ngozi was different from the rest of the family. She was a retired teacher, quiet, observant. One afternoon, she found Amara reading a book during her 30-minute break. "What are you reading?" Annie Ngozi asked. Amara quickly hid the book, afraid she would be punished for using her break time wrong. "Nothing, Ma. I was just—" "Let me see." Annie Ngozi took the book. It was a business management textbook, old and worn, that Amara had found in the trash when the family was clearing out old books. "You're reading this? Do you understand it?" "Yes, Ma. I'm trying to learn. I want to go to university someday. I want to study business." Annie Ngozi looked at Amara for a long moment. "My sister treats you terribly, doesn't she?" Amara didn't know how to answer. Speaking the truth could get her fired. But lying felt wrong. "I see everything," Annie Ngozi continued. I see how they talk to you. How they treat you like you're nothing. It's shameful. She paused. But you're reading business management textbooks. You're educating yourself. That's smart. Very smart. From that day, Annie Ngozi became Amara's secret ally. She would leave books on Amara's bed in the boys' quarters. Business books. Self-help books. Even university admission guides. She never said anything to the family. But Amara understood. Someone saw her. Someone believed she could be more. Amara devoured every book. After the family went to sleep, she would study by candlelight because the boys' quarters had unreliable electricity. She taught herself accounting, marketing, business strategy. She used the family's Wi-Fi password that Chukwemeka had carelessly shouted out loud to download free online courses. She watched YouTube lectures while washing dishes with earphones hidden under her headscarf. During the day, she observed. She watched Chief Okafor run his business, make calls, negotiate deals. She learned what worked and what didn't. She saw inefficiencies in his operations that he was too arrogant to notice. She memorized supplier names, client complaints, industry trends. The Okafors thought she was just a maid who cleaned and cooked. They didn't know she was getting a real-world business education in their own home. 2 years passed. Amara saved every kobo she could. She didn't buy new clothes. She barely ate. Every month, she sent 25,000 naira home and kept 5,000 for herself. That 5,000 went into a bank account that grew slowly but steadily. Meanwhile, the Okafor family's cruelty escalated. Mrs. Okafor started inviting her society friends over for afternoon tea just to humiliate Amara in front of them. This is our maid, Amara, she would say with a laugh. She's from the village, still learning how civilized people live. Her friends would laugh while Amara served them tea with shaking hands. Chidimma started a new game. She would hide her jewelry and then accuse Amara of stealing it, making Amara strip search her own room while Chidimma filmed it on her phone for laughs. Just joking, she would say when she magically found the jewelry in her own purse. But the accusation hung in the air. The other staff started avoiding Amara, afraid to be associated with the suspected thief. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening. Amara had worked 19 hours straight because the Okafors were hosting a party. She had cooked, cleaned, served over 40 guests, and hadn't eaten all day. At midnight, when the last guest left, she finally sat down in the kitchen to eat her portion of jollof rice. Mrs. Okafor walked in. What do you think you're doing? Ma, I'm eating. The party is over, so I thought. You thought? You don't think, Amara. You obey. And I didn't give you permission to eat yet. There's still cleaning to do. But Ma, I've been working since 4 this morning. I'm very hungry. Please, just let me eat something small. Mrs. Okafor's face twisted. You're talking back to me? You, a maid, are talking back to me. She grabbed a plate of food and threw it outside. If you're hungry like an animal, eat outside like an animal. In fact, go. Get out of my sight. You're fired. Ma, please. I'm sorry. I need this job. My family. I don't care about your family. Get your things and leave my house now. Amara ran to the boys' quarters, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe this was happening. 3 years of abuse, and it ended like this, over a plate of rice. But when she reached her room, Annie Ngozi was there, waiting. I heard everything, she said, and I'm ashamed of my sister. But Amara, maybe this is your sign. Maybe it's time to stop surviving and start thriving. Ma, I have nothing. No job, no place to stay now. You have everything that matters. Auntie Ngozi handed Amara an envelope. Inside was 50,000 naira. This is not charity. This is an investment. I believe in you. Use this to get started. Apply to university. There are night programs for working students. Get a small job somewhere else, anywhere else. And study. Promise me you'll study. Amara hugged Annie Ngozi and cried. I promise, Ma. I promise. That night, Amara left the Okafor mansion with her small bag, her worn textbooks, and something she hadn't had before, fire in her belly. She was done being humble, done accepting crumbs, done letting people treat her like she was worthless. She found a job at a small restaurant, washing dishes and serving food. The pay was worse, but the owner was kind. More importantly, the job ended at 6 p.m., giving Amara time to study. She enrolled in a night program at the University of Lagos, studying business administration. The classes were tough. She was older than most students. She had to work twice as hard to catch up on things they had learned in expensive secondary schools. But Amara had something they didn't have: hunger. Not for food, but for vindication. Every time she wanted to quit, she remembered Mrs. Okafor throwing her food outside. Every time the coursework felt impossible, she remembered Chidinma's laughter while humiliating her. Every time she felt exhausted, she remembered Chief Okafor checking her pockets like she was a criminal. Amara didn't just pass her courses. She excelled. She graduated top of her class. She got internships. She networked. She was relentless. 5 years after leaving the Okafor mansion, Amara was working as a junior analyst at a business consulting firm. 7 years later, she was a senior consultant. 9 years later, she started her own consulting company, specializing in manufacturing efficiency. She remembered everything she had observed while working for Chief Okafor. All his inefficiencies, all his waste, all his poor management decisions. She built her business model on fixing exactly those problems. Her company grew fast, very fast. Within 3 years, Amara's consulting firm was one of the most sought after in Lagos. Major manufacturing companies were paying her hundreds of thousands to improve their operations. Amara was making in 1 month what the Okafors had paid her in 2 years. She bought herself a house, not a mansion like the Okafors, but a beautiful modern home that was truly hers. She brought her father and siblings to Lagos. She put all her siblings through university. She drove a modest but reliable car. She dressed well. She carried herself with dignity. The girl who ate outside like a dog was now a respected businesswoman. But Amara wasn't satisfied. There was one thing left to do. 12 years after leaving the Okafor mansion, Amara heard through industry contacts that Okafor furniture manufacturing was struggling. Chief Okafor had made poor business decisions. The economy had changed, but he had refused to adapt. His company was hemorrhaging money. He was desperate for solutions. Amara smiled when she heard this. It was time. She made a few strategic calls. She positioned herself. She waited for the perfect moment. And then it came. Okafor Furniture Manufacturing put out a tender for a major business consulting contract. They needed someone to restructure the entire company or face bankruptcy. The contract was worth millions, but more importantly, it came with one condition. The winning consultant would have full operational authority. They would become, essentially, the boss of everyone in the company. Amara submitted her proposal. It was brilliant, thorough, and significantly better than the competition. She knew it would be because she had been studying this company for over a decade. She knew its problems better than Chief Okafor himself. When the shortlisted consultants were called for presentations, Amara dressed in her best power suit. She walked into the Okafor company building with her head high. This was the building she had heard about for 3 years, but never seen because maids don't visit the office. The presentation room was full of executives. And there, at the head of the table, sat Chief Okafor, Mrs. Blessing Okafor, and Chidinma, who was now supposedly the operations director. Amara walked in, set up her laptop, and began her presentation. She spoke about waste reduction, supply chain optimization, and market repositioning. Her presentation was flawless. The executives were impressed. They nodded, took notes, asked intelligent questions. But the Okafor sat frozen. Chief Okafor's mouth was slightly open. Mrs. Okafor looked like she had seen a ghost. Chidinma was staring with her eyes wide, trying to process what she was seeing. They recognized her. Of course they recognized her. You don't forget the face of someone you tortured for 3 years. Amara finished her presentation. Thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing your decision. Her voice was calm, professional, powerful. As she packed up, Chief Okafor finally found his voice. Amara? Is that really you? Amara looked at him with cold politeness. Yes, Chief Okafor. It's me. Do you have any questions about my proposal? You were your maid. Yes, I was your maid 12 years ago. You fired me for trying to eat dinner after working 19 hours. I believe the phrase Mrs. Okafor used was eat outside like an animal. Is that correct? Mrs. Okafor looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her. Chidinma had gone pale. I don't understand. Chief Okafor stammered. When did I become educated? When did I build a successful company? When did I become qualified to save your failing business? Amara smiled. It was not a warm smile. I studied while I worked for you. I read the books your family threw away. I watched how you ran your company and learned from your mistakes. Every moment of humiliation became motivation. Every cruel word became fuel. You taught me exactly what kind of boss I never wanted to be. For that lesson, I suppose I should thank you. The room was completely silent. The other executives were watching this exchange with fascination and discomfort. So, Amara continued, gathering her things. The board will make their decision. If they choose my proposal, I will require full operational authority, as stated in the contract. That means everyone in this company, including family members, will report to me. If you're not comfortable with that arrangement, I understand. There are other consulting firms you can hire. Though I should mention, none of them know your company's problems as intimately as I do. She walked toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Chief Okafor, if I do get this contract, there will be one policy I'll implement immediately. All employees, regardless of position, will be treated with basic human dignity. They will eat in the company cafeteria, not outside. They will use the same bathrooms. And they will never, ever be searched like criminals before going home. I learned from the best what not to do. Amara walked out, leaving the Okafors sitting in their expensive chairs, drowning in shame. 3 days later, Amara received the call. She had won the contract. The board had voted unanimously. Her proposal was too good to reject, regardless of her personal history with the family. Chief Okafor had abstained from the vote. He knew he had no choice. Amara's first day as the operational director of Okafor Furniture Manufacturing was everything she had imagined. She walked through the front door, the door she was never allowed to use as a maid. She had her own office, spacious and modern, and she had the authority to make real changes. Her first meeting was with all department heads, including the Okafor family members. Amara addressed them professionally but firmly. This company is failing because of poor management, wasteful practices, and outdated thinking. Over the next 6 months, we will restructure everything. Some of you will keep your positions if you prove your competence. Some of you will be reassigned. Some of you will be let go if you cannot perform. Family name will not protect you. Only results matter. Chidinma raised her hand, her voice shaky. And what about us? The Okafor family. Amara looked at her calmly. You will be evaluated like everyone else, Miss Okafor. If you can do your job, you'll keep it. If you can't, you'll be replaced. That's how businesses survive. Over the next weeks, Amara worked tirelessly. She cut unnecessary expenses. She renegotiated supplier contracts using the contacts she had memorized years ago. She streamlined production. She retrained staff. She made hard decisions. And slowly, painfully, the company started turning around. Mrs. Okafor tried to approach Amara one afternoon. Amara, can we talk? Privately. Amara looked up from her laptop. Mrs. Okafor, if this is about business, we can talk. If this is personal, I'm not interested. Please. I want to apologize for how we treated you. We were wrong. Terribly wrong. Amara leaned back in her chair. You're apologizing now, 12 years later, after I have power over your family's livelihood. How convenient. No, I mean it. I've thought about you over the years. I've felt guilty. Guilty enough to try to find me? To apologize when I couldn't do anything for you? Or guilty only now that I'm your boss? Mrs. Okafor had no answer. Mrs. Okafor, I don't need your apology. I don't need your guilt. What I need is for you to do your job competently, or leave this company. That's the only relationship we have now. Chidinma was reassigned to a junior position after Amara discovered she had been doing virtually no work as operations director. She quit within a month, unable to handle the humiliation of actually working for her salary. Chief Okafor remained as the figurehead chairman, but had no operational power. Every decision went through Amara. The hardest moment came 6 months into the restructuring. The company was improving, but it needed one more major cost cut to survive. Amara had to lay off 15 people. She agonized over this decision. She remembered being fired over a plate of rice. She remembered the fear of losing income. She called an all-staff meeting. I have to make cuts. 15 positions will be eliminated. But unlike how this company operated before, I will not be cruel about it. Everyone losing their job will receive 3 months severance pay, job placement assistance, and positive references. You are not being fired because you're bad people. You're being let go because this company made bad decisions years before you arrived, and we're still paying the price. You deserve to be treated with dignity, even in goodbye." The staff cried, but they also thanked her. Several people told her she was the best boss they had ever had. One older woman, a cleaning lady, hugged Amara and whispered, "You remember where you came from. That's why you treat us like humans." Amara did remember. She would never forget. By the end of the first year, Okafor Furniture Manufacturing was profitable again. Amara had done what everyone said was impossible. The board was ecstatic. They offered to extend her contract for 3 more years. But Amara had done what she came to do. She had proven her point. She had shown the Okafors that the maid they humiliated was worth more than their entire family combined. At the contract renewal meeting, Amara smiled and said, "Thank you for the offer, but I decline. I've restructured your company. I've trained new management. You'll be fine without me. My work here is done." Chief Okafor looked panicked. "But we need you. Please, Amara. Name your price." "There is no price, Chief Okafor. I didn't take this job for money. I took it to teach you something. The lesson is over." As Amara packed up her office on her last day, Auntie Ngozi came to visit. She was older now, her hair completely gray, but her smile was the same. "I heard you're leaving," Auntie Ngozi said. "Yes, Ma. It's time. You did it, Amara. You became exactly who you were meant to be. Because you believed in me when no one else did. Ma, those books you left me. That 50,000 naira. You saved my life." Auntie Ngozi hugged her. "No, child. You saved your own life. I just reminded you that you could." Amara left Okafor Furniture Manufacturing through the front door, head high, dignity intact. She never looked back. Today, Amara Ndlovu runs one of the most successful business consulting firms in West Africa. She has offices in 4 countries. She's been featured in business magazines. She speaks at universities. And she has a special scholarship program for young people from rural areas who want to study business. Every year, she fully funds 20 students. Because she remembers what it's like to have potential, but no opportunity. She never married the Okafor family's apologies. Some wounds don't need reconciliation. They need distance. And sometimes the best revenge isn't hurting the people who hurt you. It's becoming so successful that they become irrelevant to your story. The Okafors. Chief Okafor retired quietly. The company was eventually sold to a larger corporation. Mrs. Blessing Okafor stopped chairing charity organizations after several people publicly questioned how she treated her own domestic workers. Chidinma moved to Abuja, where no one knows her history. They became small, insignificant people whose cruelty cost them everything. And Amara? Amara became legendary. Not because she destroyed the people who hurt her, but because she rose so high that their opinions no longer mattered. There's a photo in Amara's office. It's a picture of her on her first day as a university student, taken by Auntie Ngozi. In the photo, Amara is holding her textbooks, wearing a simple dress, smiling nervously at the camera. She keeps it there to remember. Not the pain, but the possibility. Not what was done to her, but what she did with it. Every person who walks into Amara's office sees that photo and asks about it. And Amara tells them the truth. That's me on the day I decided to stop surviving and start thriving. That's the day I learned that the opinions of cruel people don't define your worth. Your actions do. As I finish this story, I want you to remember something important. People will underestimate you. People will humiliate you. People will try to convince you that you're worthless. But their cruelty says everything about them and nothing about you. Your job is not to prove them wrong. Your job is to prove yourself right. Amara could have spent her life angry, bitter, obsessed with revenge. Instead, she spent it becoming excellent. And excellence is the best response to humiliation. Success is the best response to doubt. And dignity is the best response to cruelty. The Okafors treated Amara like she was beneath them, but she was never beneath them. She was just getting ready to rise above them. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful stories that will change how you see the world. And remember, the people who underestimate you today will be telling stories about you tomorrow. Make sure those stories are about your success, not their cruelty. Amara Ndlovu is not a maid anymore. She's a boss. She is a success story. She is proof that your beginning does not define your ending. And that is the sweetest victory of all.